Hi, I'm Tuulia of Honesty Europe, and today I'm going to talk about sadness. I got a question what to do when you're afraid of going to the sadness and worrying that it will get overwhelming and it's difficult to get out of there. Or what to do when it's easier to access sadness than anger. So, first of all, I think sadness is like any other emotion, it's there for a reason and it's not dangerous or worrisome or anything like that as a normal emotion. Sadness comes and it goes, and sometimes it stays for a while. And of course, then there's grieving, like if somebody died, or there's a breakup, or somebody's not part of our life anymore, or maybe mourning over some big change in life. Your kids moving out, you moving houses, leaving a loved workplace behind, anything like that. So I think it's good to allow that sadness, allow that grieving and that mourning to be there, and it can be very healing and purifying to cry and allow that all to come out. And I would say that in general, crying is good and healthy, and there's nothing bad or wrong about it. And then there's different shades of crying. There's crying like angry crying and guilt trippy crying. So actually, we are not so much sad, but we want to manipulate with our tears, or we want to get the other one doing things. And maybe some of us have learned that that's a good strategy, because the other one is a bad guy, a bad person, not to do what I want when I'm so sad, I'm crying, poor thing. And yeah, I have definitely been in that place, so I recognize that in me when I'm actually going into the crying or sadness when the real thing is anger. So, how to recognize this is like, yeah, when you're curious about what happens in you and also observing other people, you can start to notice what is your personal go to place? What is your personal pattern? Is it easier for you to go to sadness, or is it easier for you to go to anger? And then start to recognize that, oh, I'm crying when actually I'm angry, and then try to express it. And it might feel odd and a bit fake and not real if you're not used to expressing anger. And it's like, no, I'm not angry, says the head, I'm just sad. So I invite you, I propose you just go ahead and try to get some access to your anger and express it, even if it feels awkward or fake or something like that. And you might notice while observing your body that anger is the true emotion there. And often anger and sadness are coupled together, and there's one underneath and one on the top. So also the people who tend to be angry and have a hard time accessing the sadness, there tends to be the sadness underneath. So then to this question, what about when I'm just too worried to really go there? So I think your head might make it a bigger deal than it is really, for you to fully access your sadness, fully allow the sadness to be there, fully experience what are you sad about. And of course you can also get support, so have somebody with you when you're exploring your sadness, and also not only spin out in your head and kind of indulge you into a spiral of tears and feeling sorry for yourself, but also ongoingly notice what happens in your body, noticing your feet on the ground, notice your butt on the seat, notice your breathing, like I'm noticing my breathing right now. Maybe some big breaths if you're kind of getting overwhelmed and spinning out. So using tools to get grounded if you notice you're spinning out. And sometimes journaling can be very helpful in getting specific. What am I truly sad about? Rather than this like, oh, everything is so bad, and this kind of big global pictures, big, very vague ideas and thoughts and worries. So getting specific in general, I judge helps. Then I got a question, what's the difference between sadness and depression? Again, it's a kind of a sliding scale where sadness becomes like an ongoing way of being. That is actually depression. They do have quite a different look and feel, and how you experience them. And of course, depression is not like something that happens for an hour. It's a longer period of time when you're in a place that you're feeling maybe a lot of darkness. Maybe you're not finding much joy and brightness in your life. And yeah, sadness is an emotion, and depression is most of the time a longer term, more kind of a serious topic. Not that anything is uber serious, but something that you might want to look at and work on and get some support so that you don't kind of go deeper and deeper. And what tends to happen with depression is that that takes over many other things in our lives. It takes over the social contacts, doing activities we enjoy, feeling connected to my body, feeling connected to another human being, noticing all the different little things to be happy about, like the smells, the sounds, the visual things around me, and so on. So I think there is quite a bit of difference there. And if you're worried, then verbalizing, talking about, exploring what's going on with you, I judge is a good way to start. So I'm Tuulia of Honesty Europe, and these things, these emotions like sadness, anger, how to recognize my sadness, how to embrace and accept my sadness, maybe learn something from my sadness. These are things we also work on in our workshops, where we tend to say all of you is welcome here. All emotions are welcome. You don't need to be any different. So that's something you might want to check out. See you later.